Hello, adventurers! It is so nice to see you in the Starfall Tavern again. I hope you're ready with some tea or something brewed. And I hope you're going to be enjoying this alongside drawing or doing some chores, whatever you want. Essentially, this video is about my first ever OC. And this OC, funnily enough, was a webcomic OC as well that I decided to draw, and where my webcomic journey found its roots, essentially. For that, we need a bit of context. So basically, the world in this comic was supposed to be somewhat post-apocalyptic. It was supposed to be a world that a god basically remade. So in this world, there wasn't supposed to be any kinds of mistakes, and it was supposed to be very peaceful. In order to make that world peaceful, the god decided to have a few guardians, some minor and some major. And one of the major guardians was actually the OC that we're going to be talking about, named Time, or Kronos. Yeah, you can guess where that comes from. But essentially, before Time was a guardian, Time was a mere human. In his own life, as a parent, as a father, he suffered from severe losses of people around him. And yeah, he lost everything in a big house fire. And then he later would learn that he was also destined to die pretty soon. So when the world was slowly ending, and the god of this world slowly decided to say, okay, we are going to create a new world, he took this person and made him a guardian to give him a little bit more time with those he loves. And so this man became the guardian of time, essentially an immortal that would perceive and look after time and time flow and history. But that brought a caveat, as with any guardian, since God didn't want to make them all powerful and gave each of them a flaw. For Time, the flaw was that he would eventually forget. After hundreds of years living, he would forget what happened in those 100 years. He would remember the basics, but everything else, he forgot. And at first, his first few 100 years, he lived like he wanted to. I mean, he basically forgot about his old life, as any of the Guardians do. But he did enjoy it. He did try and make friendships and stay as close to as many people as possible. But this started to change when a group of people were not fond of the Guardians and tried to eradicate them, or tried to get closer to God, because they learned of this old world and wanted to go back to it because of the freedom it promised. In that time, the Guardians slowly started to fade away from the world and reside in their own spaces, hidden either above or in between those humans. And Time was one that was forced to stay away, just because he was precious. The other Guardians imagined or thought that if Time were to die, the whole world would break. Such an immense character Time was. So in the end, Time was locked up with his brother Cosmos and had to stay inside, looking at everything, but never experiencing it. And Time grew tired. He was a person that loved the interactions with humans and loved watching them and being by the side. So it didn't take long till Time decided to run wild and go out and meet people. In the end, he did notice that one of the people he met was one of the sympathizers of the rebels. And so he got closer to this person, and eventually they would fall in love, neither recognizing that the other was exactly the one they were looking for. Well, at least the rebel, in that regard, wouldn't realize it. Until someday he did, and it would all crash down. The specifics of this day aren't very well known. There was a lot of chaos involved, and a lot of information eventually got erased due to Cosmos fearing the safety of his own brother, Time. But it would end in Time losing the love of his life and being locked up again, for safety concerns, of course. But that made Time miserable. He still had a few years to go until his memory would eventually be reset to 0. So he took his time and... Okay, bad pun. But he took his time and wrote everything he felt in a notebook that he kept hidden from everyone. He wanted to remember. He was desperate of his own life and his own negative or flaws, until he eventually came across a prophecy. It was said that someday a person might be born that would be able to eradicate the Guardians once they were no longer needed. And so Time became curious. But the more he tried to probe and ask, the more he realized it was kept a secret. And the more he asked Cosmos, the more Cosmos would try and keep any information away from Time. Until Time, ran out of time, and he realized that if he would stay with his brother, he would never, ever remember. And everything that he tried to keep hidden would eventually be revealed when he started to lose his memory again. So Time wanted to flee, and he did flee. Of course, he still had a little bit of time left before the reset, so he had to be in for quite a while and had to keep looking for his secret hideout where he would stay even after the reset. But as in any stories, he eventually was found, and Time was up. His mind resetted, and Cosmos was the one who ended up finding him and bringing him back. Though Cosmos surprisingly did not find out about the diary. And after 1 or 2 years of being fine and new and learning again, Time found his own journal, his own diary, and read it. Once he read it, he of course didn't remember anything, but he remembers. He didn't remember any of the struggles, but he did remember the feeling of being imprisoned and lost and wanting to remember something desperately, knowing the feeling of having lost something precious to him. So the cycle repeated, in a sense, but this time earlier, and time ran away. He heard the rumors of a girl being born that would be able to annihilate any of the guardians. So he was curious and waited till she grew up, until he would finally meet her in a school on the Isle of the No Ones, an island that wasn't ruled by any of the guardians. It was considered a neutral zone. There he would meet up and learn alongside with her the secrets that the world still has out. Essentially, he would meet people that he never realized were real. For example, the group of elves, really rare people that only are in legend. These are people that have survived the First World Fall and became immortals to not fully eradicate everyone. And so some of them remembered what happened. And some of them even remember time. It is yet to be known if time really ended up passing away at the end of the story. Yet he tried his best in learning and meeting all the people that he can. And maybe even fate will be nice to him and grant him one final time with the person he loved the most, revealing all the secrets that have been left untouched for centuries. And maybe time will find a way to remember everything. Because humans also slowly uncover things about history. Basically, my whole concept with time was that he was supposed to represent history itself. Humans forget history quite often or repeat it. So, in that same sense, time was supposed to repeat the things he wanted to do and always forget the things that hurt him the most or that he liked the most. Time is a river, and you never know how much or where it'll flow. Hence why I love his design as well. I wanted to add a lot of like sand clock shapes in it. And since he was one of the more important guardians, I thought, hey, why not give him a warm and a white golden like color scheme. Hence why I redrew him for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you follow for more. I do have more OC stories like Val's story if you're interested in D&D lore as well. But yeah, this was my first ever webcomic OC, and I'm quite proud he made it till today. Maybe someday I can, you know, make his story real and a full one. So once again, thank you so much for joining in, and I hope you have a great rest of the week. Bye bye.